You're probably wondering how I ended up here. I certainly was not planning on coming to the hospital when I went to Portugal for 5 weeks. Well, let me tell you the story. Now, if you have never been to Portugal, let me start off by saying that this is a magical country. It is so charming, so beautiful. There is beautiful architecture, and there are beautiful beaches, and the food is amazing, and the wine is amazing, and I was having a wonderful time. And I have to thank Portugal for healing me because I had gone through a terrible experience, and Portugal, I have to attribute my healing to Portugal. It was Portugal that brought me back to life. It is a beautiful place, and I am forever grateful for the experience that I had there. So I must start out with that because my experience of getting sick there was just a small blip on this wonderful 5-week trip of healing. That said, I got sick 3 times when I was in Portugal. I was in Lisbon and I was in Porto, and I got sick in both places. And it's a known fact that Portugal has a problem with mold, and so I'm not sure if that was the reason. One of the places I stayed, I did see visible mold, but I stayed in 4 different places. I didn't see it anywhere else. But you can see in this picture, I'll tell you this story in a moment, that my left eye is red and it was swollen. And I don't know what was going on. So that was one issue. And then the other issue sent me to the hospital. I'll tell you both stories now. So let's start with the story at the hospital. So one morning I woke up feeling really dizzy, and I was staying in a guest house, and they told me to walk across the street to the pharmacy. That's what you see me doing here. Pharmacists are well trained, so they thought that he or she could tell me what to do next. What I had not banked on was not being able to communicate. Thank goodness for Google Translate. As you can see, I used these text messages to get my point across, and ultimately she told me to go to the hospital. Actually, she told me to call my doctor, but I told her that I'm a tourist, I don't have a doctor, and so she wrote down the name of the closest hospital for me, and I took a taxi over to the hospital. Now, when I got there, I was really happy because I really wanted to see a doctor, but you can see it's quite the distance to get into the hospital, and I took a Bolt, and the driver refused to drive me up to the front door. So I walked all that way, feeling super dizzy, and I finally got to the front. Not even sure if this was the entrance. Oh Lord, I went to the wrong place. I'm so dizzy, but I see ambulances, so this must be the right way. When I got in there, of course, it was full of people, and there were people taking numbers, and there were announcements in Portuguese, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I sat down, and I'm feeling so dizzy and so overwhelmed because, traveling alone can be very stressful, and this is a time when it was very stressful. So I typed into my phone, "Could you please let me know when they call my number?" And I showed it to the woman next to me, and she told me, "Oh, they just called your number." So I went up, and I finally figured out that I needed to go into this back area, and I was told it would be about a 20 or 30 minute wait to see a doctor. Well, the 30 minutes turned into 45 minutes, turned into an hour. I would sit, I would stand, I was trying to pass the time. But what I realized was that I was not a priority. As you can see here, there are stretchers lined up all the way down the hall. There were about 30 elderly people in stretchers. So I was not a priority. My hour turned into 2 hours, turned into 3 hours, turned into 4 hours, and then I just gave up. Well, that was a total bust. I find out that this is the public hospital, and that's probably why. Santa Maria. Can you see the sign? I waited 4 freaking hours, and then I left. I'm so annoyed. So as I was walking out, this guy told me that there's a private hospital, so I think I might go there. So I'm gonna go to the private hospital now, because the symptoms that I had were scary. And so even though they've subsided, I just want to talk to somebody and make sure I'm okay. And I did hear that the private hospital may make me wait as long as the public one did. So I'm not gonna wait 4 hours, because all I've had today is an orange. So, but I will wait 30 minutes. I'll give it a shot and see if they'll see me. And then I gotta get something to eat, because that's not helping my situation. Traveling solo, I tell you. But quite frankly, I live alone, so the same thing could happen to me back home, and I could, well, I guess there's 911 back home. But still, if something happens to me not near a phone, it's no different than when you're traveling solo, right? Anyway, let me go look for this driver. All right, now at a private hospital. I don't know if I'm in the right entrance or not, but actually does not look like an entrance. I need my mask. Is this an emergency room? I'll put my mask on and try to figure this out. Well, that was a nice hospital, but they don't do emergency services, so all I can say is it's good it's not a serious medical emergency, because I would seriously be SOL. Something important to know when you travel. And I've traveled a lot, but... So that was a very frustrating experience. Ultimately, I just took a taxi back home, and thankfully it wasn't a serious medical emergency because I never got seen. Anyway, let's talk about the other 2 times I got sick. And I don't know if it was mold or not, but I recorded what happened. Can you see my eye? The heck? It's like swollen, pink. Ugh. I did take a COVID test. It was negative, but this cold keeps coming back and forth and back and forth, and then today I look like this. So I went to the pharmacy and I got this. She said it's going to treat the problem, and this is for the symptoms, the eye issue. So hopefully it'll get better, but these were expensive. The eye drops were €12.80, and the medicine was 14 euros. So 12 and 14 is what, 26 euros, like $30. So I guess it's free if you're Portuguese, but I'm not. Anyway, I wonder if I can submit it to my travel insurance. I'm gonna keep the receipt, baby. Anyway, so now I'm gonna try to get back for breakfast, separate myself, but I'm so upset. I'm on vacation. I'm glad I'm going back to the, not back, I'm going to an Airbnb today. So that's good. It's not good to be in a hostel if I'm contagious, right? Put this around, I'm walking around with the medicine. And look, do you see what's in the background? Pizza Hut. Too funny. I don't think I'm that far, but I'm gonna call Bolt so I can make it back for breakfast. And because I don't have energy. All right. So thankfully, these worked really well. I thought it was really interesting that the pharmacist said that one would just deal with the actual problem and the other would be for my symptoms. I thought it was interesting that those 2 things were separate. But anyway, they worked well. I had Allianz travel insurance. I misplaced the receipt, so I didn't submit it, but I probably could have gotten my money back. But anyway, yeah, so getting sick in a foreign country is not fun, but I was happy to be back on my feet back enjoying Portugal. And I really hope that this was helpful for you. And I hope that when you travel abroad, that you remain healthy. So I'd love to hear if you had any challenges with your health when you're traveling. Leave the information in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.